Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this content development process. We're going to talk about content for sales pages and email sequences and social media, all that stuff that you create and develop and spend hours thinking about, all that stuff that you use so that you can get more qualified customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, you're going to see several links. One of the links that you will see is for the Content Prompt Playbook. This is a free download, and it's going to give you the steps to talk to Chat GPT so that it gets what you need in your marketing messages, and your marketing is actually closer to what your business needs versus, I don't know, like 100 emojis. So another link that you're going to see is that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective program. This is my group of amazing small business owners, and we get together every month on a Zoom call, but you also get a workbook in your inbox every single month. And this workbook is always going to be based on something that's going to help you learn. It's going to help you learn a new skill. It's going to help you with your marketing in some form that you may not have known before. So that's going to lead us into today's conversation today. But if you are interested, you see the links below. You know what to do to learn more. So let's use that information that I was just talking about, what we're doing in the Marketing Strategy Collective. Let's talk about your marketing, especially when it comes to being consistent. And I'm not talking about marketing needing a, color-coded calendar, or I post 3 times a week no matter what. That's not what I mean by consistency. I'm talking about, what does your marketing look like? Creating consistent content. What does it look like in real life? And what I mean by real life, I'm not talking about what you print out on your to-do list every single week, or your great vision that might be in your, maybe you've got a programming app that you use, a productivity app. I'm talking about real life that coexists when life happens, when we have unpredictable schedules, when our energy is shifting from week to week. Maybe one week we have to, caregiving with our parents, or we're dealing with our own health issues. There could be money stress. There could be things going on with our kids and our family. There's seasons that are different with everybody's businesses where content is just not the top priority. And so when we're talking about being consistent with our marketing, it's not just about how many times you're showing up online. It's about being consistent with the system and the process that you have created with your own business. And if your system and process aren't matching up to where you are in real life, that's where you're getting stuck. So I want to talk about all of this today. And I want to talk about this idea about traditional consistency advice. Because when we talk about, be consistent, do this, do that, it assumes that we're all, 100% energy, stable, steady every single week. And that's not always the case. Traditional consistency assumes that we all have predictable weeks. And that's certainly not the case. Not everybody has their butt in the seat in their office Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Everybody is different. And when we think about the traditional consistency in that respect, it's almost like it expects us all to live in this little bubble that we've created in our Monday.com, files and forms and folders that we're doing here. And then when it doesn't happen and when it doesn't work out, we always internalize it and say, you know what, I'm just bad at marketing, or there's nothing I can do to stay consistent. There's something that's going to happen. It's always going to knock me off schedule. And let me tell you this, from the patterns that I've seen from myself and my clients and the people that I work with, that's going to happen. It's going to happen that things are going to go off track. That it's going to happen when, our life doesn't go exactly the way that we think it's going to go and what we've typed out into our perfect little plan in our Google Doc. No, when consistency is defined as how frequently you show up, that's when it becomes that moment when we think that it's just not working. So if we miss a week, we can spiral into, oh my gosh, I missed a week. If we miss a whole month, then that turns into, I don't even want to show up. I haven't been showing up for a month. It's like shame. And then we just start over again and again. Okay, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be consistent. And we get going and we get going. And then it just starts back up again. This is not a motivation thing. This is understanding a system and a process. And when we think about it from that place, that's when we want to get intentional about the work that we're doing behind the scenes that's going to help us stay consistent. That's going to help us continue to get our marketing messages out there. So if this is what the problem is, and as we're going to do every video this year, it's not just about talking about this problem, because we're all probably nodding our head going, yeah, been there, been there, been there. What do we do to fix it? And I brought this up earlier in the video when I talked about the Marketing Strategy Collective. This month, we have been focusing on content buckets. You can call them content pillars. You can call them categories, weekly themes, topics. I like the idea of a bucket because I like to think that they are separate containers, and within each container is a bucket, and things go into the bucket. The content goes into the bucket, the information goes into the bucket, it stays in its container. So I'm going to keep calling them content buckets. But this is the answer that I believe you're looking for. Because I think that sometimes people think about content buckets as just a place for them to organize their ideas or to plan or to help them batch content. But when you are doing this correctly and when you're really utilizing those content buckets, what they're doing is they're holding your marketing message steady and calm in that unpredictable world, especially when your life isn't. Content buckets gives you something to return to. It always brings you back. It has the container. The container has your ideas. The container knows about your video episodes. The container knows what happens when you blog. The container knows when you're sharing this particular topic with this specific call to action, that's what happens when we're staying consistent with this. When we're using this container with our ideas and our information, this is how we stay consistent. And we do this every single week without having to start from scratch. Because your content buckets are not about you being perfect. What they are about is helping your marketing message have continuity. And that's a big difference. Because consistency is about having these themes and these interconnected through lines between your content and your actual goals about what you're trying to do in your business. It's not consistency is not based on frequency. And when you start to make that mindset shift, that's when it starts to click with you, and that's when you're like, oh, now I get it. I'm understanding. You understand what I'm talking about now, because consistency is not about posting on the same day every week. Consistency is not hitting a specific number of likes on every single post. Consistency doesn't mean that you're never going to disappear. What consistency means is that you are always returning to the same conversations with your marketing messages. Consistency means that you are reinforcing this marketing message over time. And when you're able to do this, it lets your community recognize your voice. It lets your community know the message that you're sharing, and that they lean into it. They want to know more. Because when you're using these content buckets and we're creating these intentional containers for your topics, you're saying, these are the topics that I stand for. These are the problems that my business is helping to solve. These are the conversations that I'm going to be having with my community. So even if you're posting like twice this week, and once next week, and maybe you disappear for another week, but then you come back, your message still stays recognizable. Your message is still there. It's still the same message. You're still sharing. You're not just showing up and talking about one thing one week and then something completely different that has absolutely nothing to do with the first week 2 weeks later. What you're doing is you're creating this consistent through line. And so this is how this works with our content buckets. So our content buckets help, especially when your life is crazy busy, unpredictable. What content buckets will do for you is they help you reduce startup energy. So like when you sit down to create content, you're not asking, what am I supposed to be posting today? What am I sharing today? You're basically asking, which content bucket am I pulling from today? And that one change lowers your ability to create content, because now you're not starting from what should I talk about. Now you're looking at, okay, where am I coming from today? What's the angle that we're talking about today? Excuse me, because it's all still consistently connected to each other, right? Your content buckets let you work with your energy. That's another amazing thing that it does. When you are like high energy days, you go deeper into one of your buckets. On a day where you're not feeling like you got a lot of energy, excuse me, hold on. Excuse me, sorry about that. You can share something simple. But what's going on is when we see what's in our content buckets, we know where to go deep, we know where to go simple. The buckets don't care how you show up. They just make sure that the messages, whether they're deep or whether they're simple, are aligned with your goals, are aligned with your offers, are aligned with what you're selling. They make the idea of stopping and starting so much easier during those times when you think you're falling off, when you're thinking like, I just don't have the time for this, I don't have the energy for this, and you're pausing the work that you're doing, and then you come back, your buckets are still there. You're not starting from scratch anymore. You just pick back up where you started from. You just go right back into that bucket, say, where did I leave off? And you keep going. So when you do miss like a week or, a month sometimes, don't just freak out. And I think that's what happens sometimes, like when we think that people are like watching us and tapping their foot and thinking, where is my post? I usually get a video here every Tuesday. Where's my Tuesday post? And if we don't do that people are upset with us or something. And so when we don't show up, we get into this whole mindset of, oh, they missed me, and I need to make sure that I'm aware of my community and I don't let them think that I've missed them. And we start to apologize and we explain ourselves. And then we're like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do this and I'll rework this and I'll rework this. We overhaul everything. And we think, okay, let's start all over again. You don't need to do that. Don't ever do that. So when you find yourself that you needed to take a pause and you needed to take a break, go back to the content buckets. Go back to the plan. Pick one theme, one topic that you already know matters, and just start there. And then just continue the conversation. Not I'm back. Sorry you missed me, but here's something worth thinking about. Just start the conversation. And then let the conversation and the continuity do the work. Because your community is not looking to you for perfection. What they want to do is they want to see that your message is still helpful for them. Are you solving a problem? Are you helping them through something? Are you helping them see a different side of something? Is your product that's, worthy of whatever it is that it does? These buckets allow you to pick up and go right back out there without any of that, oh, I'm sorry I disappeared kind of drama. So think of it like that. You have the opportunity here to really be intentional with your marketing, because a lot of people think that marketing becomes successful by looking at numbers, or I'm just going to force myself to show up every single day, even if it's just crappy content because I can say I'm consistent every single day. And if you measure your success like that, you always feel like you're behind. But if you're measuring success by things like the clarity of your message, like people are getting it and they're engaging, excuse me, and they're asking questions, you'll notice something powerful is happening at that moment. Marketing starts to feel like it's connecting. Marketing starts to feel like it's easier to create because it makes sense. And the content starts to feel more doable. And you trust yourself more. And when you start to get into that mindset, that's growth. That's when you see consistency. So if you've been struggling with consistency, let me be clear about something. I am not telling you that you need to have a more strict and rigid routine. I'm not here to tell you you need to be more disciplined or to try harder. What I am telling you is that I want you to think about creating your system, your process, your marketing plan that works with your life and how you work it, not against it. So when we utilize things like content buckets, our content buckets are here to help us. It's a helpful tool. Not adding one more thing to do on your to-do list, but what the content buckets do is they allow you to make sure that you're staying connected with your message based on your schedule, based on your energy, based on when you're showing up. Because consistency isn't coming from you forcing frequency. It comes from returning to what matters and sharing that message again and again in whatever way you can. And when that happens, that is when the consistency starts to convert more customers. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode is giving you some ideas about how you can learn some new skills with your marketing, I would love it if you would hit that like button and then do me a favor, hit that share button and share this with another business owner. Because if you want to take this further and join us inside the Marketing Strategy Collective, we are taking all of these ideas that you hear in the videos and I'm going to show you how to turn them into a content plan that's going to drive sales. So you see the link below, you know what to do to learn more and stop working in a solo bubble and join us in a collaborative space. Because you are magnificent, my friend. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.